Stand up. All right, well, we're all here because we're in campus ministry, right? Or at least know campus ministry. And one of our favorite books is the Bible. But if you take a step back and look at it, you realize it can be kind of a weird book sometimes. It all starts in Genesis. God makes the earth, God makes man. Did you ever stop to wonder why God made man before a woman? It was so he wouldn't have to be told how it's done. Of course, not too long after that, Satan comes, kind of messes things up. And as punishment, God says you must crawl on the ground and eat dirt. So in other words, he says you must crawl on the ground and go to Torvian. Humanity progresses a little bit. We're growing, and we're not growing very well. So God says, I need to start over. So he sends 40 days of rain. This is perhaps the best proof we have that Noah lived in Loretto. So, we go through more stuff, wars, all that fighting and laws, and finally we come to the story of a man named Job. I don't know if you've ever read the story of Job, but he was the original Bad Luck Brian. So, time goes by and God says, I need to tell these people how to behave. So he gives them a couple rules, a couple ways of life. And I can only imagine the meeting that went down. God calls the Israelites and says, here's how I want you to behave. I want you to slaughter a lamb and smear the blood all over your house. Okay. Oh, and you're not allowed to have bacon. I don't like this. Okay. But, despite all the rules, God really does love us. And we always say God the Father. I like to think of God as your stereotypical loving father. In fact, God loved to play peekaboo. He played it with St. Paul for, 3 days? Could you see? Occasionally, he even liked to play Got Your Nose, but he called it leprosy. And like any father, God would be worried about us if we went to college. But, even God was in college one time. Of course, back then the 10 Commandments were just 5 double-spaced. And instead of extending creation over 6 days, he procrastinated and pulled an all-nighter. I do get the feeling, though, that if King David were in college, he would be a drug dealer because he was the one who got Goliath stoned. And Jesus once fed 5,000 people with 5 loaves. I'd like to think that if he were here today, the equivalent would be managing to feed one college guy with 5 pizzas. And it wasn't all brightness and sunshine, though. In fact, one time, Jesus was caught at a party. And the RAs came in and found them drinking, and of course, Jesus said, it was water a minute ago, I swear. So the big part of any teenage experience is probably social media, though. And believe me, there was social media in the Bible. In fact, when Jesus first made his Facebook, he sent a friend request to Peter, who of course denied him. And whenever Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John sat down to write the Gospels, they made a blog. But did you know the wise men were actually the first people on Twitter? Because they followed the star.